The morning sun filtered through the kitchen curtains of the Henderson family home in Toronto, casting warm patches of light across the breakfast table, where 7-year-old Emily sat swinging her legs and eating cereal with characteristic enthusiasm. Her mother, Sarah, stood at the counter packing snacks into a small backpack while her father, Michael, scrolled through his phone checking traffic updates for their journey to the Invictus Games. Emily had been counting down the days since her parents announced they would attend the international sporting event for wounded veterans. She didn't fully understand the significance of the games, but she knew it meant spending the entire day outdoors, watching exciting competitions, and, best of all, bringing her favorite movie theater popcorn that her mother had promised to buy specially for the occasion. "Are we going to see real soldiers?" Emily asked, her spoon halfway to her mouth, milk dripping back into the bowl. Her wide brown eyes sparkled with curiosity as she looked between her parents, waiting for an answer that would satisfy her 7-year-old imagination. Sarah smiled as she zipped up the backpack. "We're going to see very brave people who serve their country and are now competing in sports," she explained patiently. "Some of them got hurt while they were helping keep people safe, but now they're showing everyone how strong and determined they are." Michael looked up from his phone and grinned at his daughter. "And maybe if we're really lucky, we might even see some important people who come to support the athletes." He winked at Sarah, who had been following the news coverage about which members of the royal family would be attending the various events throughout the week. Emily's excitement grew even more intense. She had recently become fascinated with princesses and princes after watching several animated movies, though her understanding of real royalty remained charmingly confused with fairy tale characters. She imagined princes wearing shiny armor and princesses in flowing gowns, not realizing that modern royalty looked much more like regular people in nice clothes. The family finished breakfast and began their journey across the city. Emily pressed her face against the car window, watching the familiar neighborhoods give way to busier streets filled with people heading in the same direction. Many wore patriotic clothing or carried small flags, and Emily noticed that everyone seemed happy and excited, which made her own anticipation grow stronger. "Mom, did you remember the popcorn?" Emily asked for the 4th time since leaving the house, turning to look at the backpack sitting between her parents in the front seat. "Yes, sweetheart, I have the popcorn," Sarah laughed. "The extra buttery kind you love, in the big bag from the movie theater." She had indeed made a special trip the evening before to buy Emily's favorite treat, knowing that her daughter would be sitting for long periods watching events she might not completely understand. As they approached the venue, Emily's eyes widened at the sight of the crowds, the colorful banners, and the organized chaos of a major international event. Security personnel directed traffic, while volunteers in bright vests helped people find parking and navigate toward the entrance gates. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and patriotic pride as families, veterans, and supporters gathered to celebrate the remarkable athletes competing in the games. Michael found a parking spot several blocks away, and the family joined the steady stream of people walking toward the main entrance. Emily skipped between her parents, clutching her mother's hand while pointing out interesting sights along the way. She noticed people in wheelchairs moving with determined athleticism, veterans wearing military caps and medals, and families carrying signs supporting specific athletes or countries. The security process took longer than expected, with bag checks and metal detectors creating bottlenecks at every entrance. Emily grew slightly impatient during the wait, but her parents kept her entertained by pointing out the different flags and explaining what they represented. When security personnel smiled at Emily and let her keep her precious bag of popcorn, she beamed with pride and carefully protected it as they moved through the crowds. Inside the venue, the Henderson family found themselves swept up in an atmosphere unlike anything they had experienced before. The main stadium area buzzed with activity as athletes warmed up for various events, officials prepared equipment, and spectators filled the stands with a rainbow of national colors and supportive signs. Emily's head turned constantly as she tried to take in everything at once. Sarah had purchased seats with a good view of multiple event areas, hoping to keep Emily engaged throughout the day. As they climbed the steps to their section, Emily noticed that some areas seemed to have extra security personnel and fancier seating arrangements. The buttery smell, mixed with the outdoor air and the excitement of the crowd, created a perfect sensory memory that would later help her remember every detail of this extraordinary day. The first events began with opening ceremonies that included national anthems, flag presentations, and speeches from various officials. Emily tried to pay attention, but her focus wandered between the popcorn, the colorful uniforms, and the interesting people sitting around them. She noticed that everyone seemed genuinely happy to be there, unlike some other events her parents had taken her to where people seemed more serious or focused. During a break between events, Emily stood up to stretch her legs and get a better view of the special seating area that had caught her attention earlier. She could see people in nice clothes talking and laughing, though they were too far away for her to make out individual faces or conversations. What she could see clearly was that they seemed just as excited about the games as everyone else, which somehow made the whole experience feel more special and inclusive. "Can we walk around and see more things?" Emily asked, bouncing slightly in her seat with excess energy that needed an outlet. Sarah and Michael exchanged glances, knowing that their active daughter would need more stimulation than just sitting and watching for the entire day. "Let's wait until the next break between events," Sarah suggested. "Then we can walk around and maybe get closer to some of the competitions." Emily agreed to this compromise and settled back in her seat, continuing to work her way through the popcorn while watching the athletes prepare for their next events. She found herself particularly fascinated by the competitors in wheelchairs, marveling at their speed and skill in ways that her parents found both heartwarming and educational. These athletes were clearly extraordinary, and Emily's innocent admiration for their abilities created exactly the kind of understanding and respect that the games were designed to promote. As the morning progressed into afternoon, the Henderson family moved around the venue to get different perspectives on various events. Emily's popcorn bag, though significantly depleted, remained her constant companion as she experienced everything from wheelchair racing to sitting volleyball. Her parents were impressed by how engaged she remained, asking thoughtful questions about the athletes and their competitions. The crowd around them included veterans, military families, and supporters from many different countries, creating an international atmosphere that felt both festive and respectful. Emily picked up on this positive energy, becoming more social and outgoing as the day continued. She waved at athletes, cheered loudly during competitions, and made friends with other children in nearby seats. During one particularly exciting wheelchair racing event, Emily stood up to get a better view and noticed increased activity in the VIP seating area. Security personnel were moving more deliberately, and several well-dressed people were being escorted to different positions around the venue. Emily's natural curiosity was immediately triggered by this change in routine. "Something important is happening," she announced to her parents, pointing toward the area where the activity was most concentrated. Michael followed her gaze and noticed the same increased security presence. "You might be right," he agreed. "Maybe some of those important guests are moving around to watch different events." This possibility excited Emily even more than the athletic competitions. The idea that really important people were somewhere nearby made everything feel more significant and special. She clutched her popcorn bag tighter and kept scanning the crowds, hoping to spot whoever was causing all the extra attention from the security personnel. What Emily didn't realize was that her innocent observation skills and natural curiosity were about to lead her family into an encounter that would be remembered and talked about for years to come. The important guests she had noticed were indeed moving through the venue, and their path would soon intersect with the Henderson family's afternoon in ways that none of them could have anticipated. As the afternoon events continued, Emily's excitement remained high despite having been at the venue for several hours. Her popcorn supply was running low, but her enthusiasm for the experience had only grown stronger. She had learned to recognize different types of competitions, started cheering for specific athletes, and developed her own theories about which events were the most exciting to watch. The stage was now set for an encounter that would transform an ordinary family outing into an extraordinary memory, though Emily remained blissfully unaware that her careful conservation of popcorn and her natural 7-year-old boldness were about to create a moment that would capture the hearts of people around the world. The afternoon sun had reached its peak when a subtle shift in the venue's atmosphere caught the attention of observant spectators like Emily Henderson. What started as barely noticeable changes in security positioning gradually became more obvious as additional personnel appeared at strategic locations throughout the stadium complex. Emily, whose 7-year-old attention to detail often surprised adults, was among the first to notice these developments. "Mom, look at all the serious people walking around," Emily whispered loudly, tugging on Sarah's sleeve while pointing toward a group of well-dressed individuals moving purposefully through the crowd. Her ability to spot patterns and changes in her environment had always impressed her parents, though they sometimes wished she were less vocal about her observations in public settings. Sarah followed her daughter's gaze and immediately understood what Emily had detected. The increased security presence, the coordinated movements of staff members, and the subtle preparation happening in the VIP sections could only mean one thing. A member of the royal family was about to make an appearance at the games. Sarah's pulse quickened slightly as she realized they might be about to witness something special. Prince Harry had been a driving force behind the creation of the Invictus Games, using his platform and passion to create an international sporting event that would honor wounded veterans while showcasing their incredible resilience and competitive spirit. His personal connection to military service, combined with his genuine care for veterans' welfare, had made the Games one of his most important and successful charitable initiatives. The prince's approach to public engagements had evolved significantly over the years, moving away from rigid formality toward more authentic interactions with people from all backgrounds. He had discovered that his most meaningful moments often happened when protocol relaxed and genuine human connections could develop naturally. These spontaneous encounters frequently produced the kind of positive publicity that formal photo opportunities could never match. Emily's excitement grew exponentially as she sensed that something important was about to happen. Her popcorn bag, now containing only a few handfuls of the buttery kernels, became even more precious as she unconsciously saved it for what her instincts told her might be a special moment. Her parents, meanwhile, tried to manage their own growing anticipation while keeping Emily calm and well-behaved. "Should we try to get closer to where everything is happening?" Michael asked Sarah quietly, not wanting to seem too eager, while simultaneously hoping to give his family a better view of whatever was about to unfold. Before Sarah could respond, Emily had already started moving in the direction of the increased activity. Her natural boldness, combined with her size advantage in navigating through crowds, allowed her to slip between groups of adults who were all straining to see what was happening in the VIP area. Sarah and Michael hurried to follow their adventurous daughter, who seemed to have an innate ability to position herself exactly where interesting things were about to happen. The crowd's energy shifted palpably as word spread that Prince Harry had arrived at the venue. People began repositioning themselves for better views, while others took out phones and cameras in anticipation of capturing a glimpse of the royal visitor. The atmosphere maintained its respectful and supportive character, but with an added layer of excitement that came from the possibility of witnessing something memorable. Emily found herself at the front edge of a group of spectators who had gathered near one of the competition areas where Prince Harry was expected to interact with athletes and supporters. Her height put her at a level with most adults' waists, giving her a unique perspective on the crowd, while keeping her relatively invisible to the security personnel who were primarily focused on potential threats from larger individuals. Prince Harry appeared with his characteristic casual confidence, wearing appropriate outdoor attire that struck the perfect balance between respect for the occasion and accessibility to the people he was meeting. His security team maintained a professional but unobtrusive presence, allowing him to move freely while ensuring his safety and the safety of those around him. The prince's interactions with veterans and their families demonstrated the genuine warmth and interest that had made him one of the most popular members of the royal family. He listened attentively to their stories, asked thoughtful questions about their experiences, and showed authentic emotion when hearing about their journeys from injury through recovery to competitive athletics. Emily watched these interactions with fascination, her 7-year-old mind trying to process how this friendly, normal-seeming man could be the same type of person as the princes in her favorite movies. He looked nothing like the character she had imagined, but something about his smile and the way people responded to him suggested that he was indeed someone very special and important. As Prince Harry moved through the crowd, his path gradually brought him closer to where Emily was standing with her parents. The security team had created a loose perimeter that allowed for natural interactions while maintaining appropriate safety measures. Emily, standing at the very front of the spectator group, found herself perfectly positioned for what would soon become an unprecedented moment. The prince's attention was initially focused on a group of Paralympic athletes who were sharing their experiences and discussing their training routines for various events. Emily listened to these conversations with interest, learning about the incredible dedication and hard work required to compete at such high levels despite significant physical challenges. During a brief lull in the conversation, Prince Harry's gaze swept across the crowd of supporters who had gathered to watch these interactions. His eyes naturally gravitated toward the children in the group, as he had always found that young people often provided the most honest and refreshing perspectives on events like these. Emily, standing confidently at the front of the crowd with her nearly empty bag of popcorn clutched in both hands, made direct eye contact with Prince Harry for the first time. Neither of them could have anticipated the significance of this moment, though both would remember it clearly for years to come. The prince smiled warmly at Emily, recognizing in her expression the kind of genuine curiosity and friendliness that made public engagements enjoyable rather than obligatory. Emily, emboldened by his smile and natural 7-year-old confidence, smiled back with the unguarded enthusiasm that only children can display in such situations. What happened next would depend entirely on Emily's spontaneous decision-making and Prince Harry's response to whatever she chose to do. The crowd around them continued their conversations and photo-taking, unaware that they were about to witness a moment that would be replayed countless times in media coverage and remembered as one of the most charming royal encounters in recent memory. Emily's parents, standing directly behind her, realized that their daughter was having a moment of direct interaction with Prince Harry. Sarah felt a mixture of pride and nervousness, hoping that Emily would behave appropriately while secretly admiring her daughter's confidence in such an intimidating situation. The setting was perfect for what was about to unfold. The casual outdoor environment, the positive energy surrounding the athletic competitions, and the prince's relaxed approach to meeting people had created exactly the kind of atmosphere where unexpected magic could happen between a royal family member and an ordinary child. Emily looked down at her bag of popcorn, then back up at Prince Harry, who was still smiling at her with genuine warmth. Her 7-year-old mind was processing multiple thoughts simultaneously. This man was clearly important and special. He seemed nice and friendly. He was standing close enough for her to reach, and she had something that people usually like to share. The crowd noise around them created a bubble of relative privacy despite being surrounded by dozens of people. Prince Harry had learned to focus completely on individual interactions, even in chaotic environments, and Emily had the natural single-mindedness of childhood that allowed her to ignore distractions when something captured her full attention. Neither the prince nor Emily was thinking about media coverage, protocol, or the potential consequences of their interaction. They were simply two people sharing a genuine moment of human connection, which was exactly the kind of encounter that made events like the Invictus Games meaningful beyond their athletic competitions. Emily's decision about what to do next would be guided by her natural generosity, her comfort with adults, and her 7-year-old understanding of how to be friendly and welcoming to someone new. She had been raised to be polite and sharing qualities that were about to create a moment that perfectly embodied the spirit of the Invictus Games and the best aspects of both childhood innocence and royal accessibility. The stage was set for an interaction that would demonstrate how the most powerful moments often arise from the simplest gestures, and how genuine human connection can transcend differences in social status, age, or background. Emily's next move would create ripples that extended far beyond the immediate moment, touching the hearts of people around the world who would later hear about her charming act of spontaneous generosity. Emily Henderson stood at the front edge of the crowd, her small hands gripping the crinkled paper bag that contained the last precious handfuls of her beloved movie theater popcorn. Prince Harry was less than 10 feet away, engaged in conversation with a Paralympic athlete, but his warm smile toward Emily just moments before had created a connection that her 7-year-old mind interpreted as an invitation for friendship. The afternoon breeze carried the sounds of ongoing competitions from other areas of the venue, mixing with the conversations and laughter of the crowd gathered around Prince Harry. Emily's parents watched their daughter with a mixture of pride and nervous anticipation, recognizing the determined expression that usually preceded one of Emily's bold decisions. Emily had always been taught to share her favorite things with people she liked, and something about Prince Harry's genuine smile and friendly demeanor triggered all her instincts about hospitality and generosity. She looked down at her popcorn bag, mentally calculating how much remained, then back up at the prince, who had briefly glanced in her direction again while listening to the athlete's story. The decision crystallized in Emily's mind with the sudden clarity that only children experience when they know exactly what they want to do. Without hesitation, doubt, or consideration of protocol, Emily took several confident steps forward, closing the distance between herself and Prince Harry with the fearless determination that had characterized her personality since she learned to walk. The security personnel noticed her movement, but quickly assessed that a 7-year-old girl carrying a bag of popcorn posed no conceivable threat to anyone's safety. Their training had prepared them to identify potentially dangerous situations, and Emily's obvious innocence and childlike purpose clearly fell outside any concerning categories. Emily reached Prince Harry just as he finished responding to the Paralympic athlete's comment about training schedules. The timing was perfect, creating a natural break in the conversation that allowed for new interactions without interrupting anything important. Emily looked up at the prince with complete confidence, holding out her bag of popcorn with both hands in a gesture of unmistakable generosity. "Would you like some popcorn?" Emily asked in her clear, 7-year-old voice that carried just far enough for nearby spectators to hear her offer. Her tone was exactly the same one she used when offering snacks to her friends at school or visitors to her family's home, treating Prince Harry with the same natural friendliness she showed to everyone she met. Prince Harry's face lit up with genuine surprise and delight at Emily's unexpected offer. His experience with thousands of public interactions had taught him to recognize authentic moments, and Emily's spontaneous generosity represented exactly the kind of genuine human connection that made his role meaningful rather than merely ceremonial. "I would absolutely love some popcorn," Prince Harry replied, crouching down at Emily's eye level in a gesture that immediately put her at ease and signaled to everyone watching that he was fully engaged in this interaction. His response was warm and grateful, treating her offer with the same respect he would show to any gracious host. Emily beamed with satisfaction at his acceptance of her gift, carefully holding the bag steady while Prince Harry reached inside to select a small handful of the buttery kernels. His movements were deliberate and appreciative, clearly understanding that this popcorn represented something precious to Emily and that sharing it was a significant gesture of friendship. "This is delicious," Prince Harry said after tasting the popcorn, his compliment earning an even brighter smile from Emily. "Is this your favorite kind?" Emily nodded enthusiastically, launching into a detailed explanation of why movie theater popcorn was superior to all other types, how her mother had bought this particular bag specially for their day at the games, and why she had been saving it for just the right moment. Her natural storytelling ability and lack of self-consciousness created an engaging monologue that entertained not only Prince Harry, but also everyone within earshot. The crowd around them had gradually become aware that something special was happening. Phones appeared discreetly as people began recording what they instinctively recognized as a memorable moment, though most were respectful enough to maintain some distance and allow the interaction to unfold naturally. Prince Harry listened to Emily's popcorn commentary with complete attention, asking follow-up questions that encouraged her to continue talking and clearly enjoying her animated explanations. His body language remained relaxed and open, creating a bubble of normalcy around their conversation despite the extraordinary circumstances. "Are you enjoying the games?" Prince Harry asked Emily, shifting the conversation toward the reason they were all gathered at the venue. Emily's face grew serious as she considered how to answer this important question from such an important person. "Yes, the people here are really, really brave," she said thoughtfully. "Someone got hurt, but they're still trying their best, and that's what my dad says is the most important thing." Prince Harry's expression showed genuine emotion at Emily's simple but profound observation. Her 7-year-old perspective had captured the essence of what the Invictus Games represented better than many formal speeches or media coverage had managed to do. The innocence and clarity of her understanding demonstrated exactly why these games mattered and who they ultimately served. "You're absolutely right," Prince Harry agreed. "They are incredibly brave, and trying your best is definitely the most important thing." Emily took another step closer to Prince Harry, emboldened by his continued friendliness and genuinely interested in maintaining their conversation. "My mom says you help organize these games," she said with a directness that only children can manage without seeming rude. "That's really nice of you." The simplicity of Emily's compliment, delivered without any agenda or expectation, touched Prince Harry in a way that formal recognition and elaborate praise rarely achieved. Her genuine appreciation for his work, expressed in the straightforward language of childhood, reminded him why he had become involved with the games in the first place. "Thank you, Emily," Prince Harry said, having somehow learned her name during their conversation or from her parents nearby. "It makes me very happy to see young people like you understanding how special these athletes are." Emily glowed with pride at being acknowledged by name and having her understanding validated by someone she now considered a friend. She held out the popcorn bag again, offering Prince Harry another handful while continuing to chat about various aspects of the games that had impressed her throughout the day. Their interaction continued for several more minutes, with Emily's natural conversation skills and Prince Harry's genuine interest in her perspective creating an extended exchange that felt both spontaneous and meaningful. Emily shared observations about different events she had watched, asked questions about the athletes' training, and offered additional popcorn at regular intervals. The crowd watching this unfold began to understand that they were witnessing something truly special. Emily's fearless approach to friendship, combined with Prince Harry's gracious response to her gesture, had created exactly the kind of moment that embodied the best aspects of both childhood innocence and royal accessibility. Sarah and Michael Henderson watched their daughter with amazement, pride, and slight nervousness as she continued her animated conversation with Prince Harry. They had always known Emily was social and confident, but seeing her maintain such a natural interaction with a member of the royal family exceeded even their highest expectations of her social skills. The security team remained alert but relaxed, recognizing that this interaction posed no threats while providing exactly the kind of positive public relations that made their job easier rather than more difficult. Emily's obvious harmlessness and Prince Harry's clear enjoyment of their conversation created the ideal conditions for an extended, unguarded moment. Emily, completely absorbed in her new friendship, continued offering popcorn and sharing her thoughts about the games with the same enthusiasm she brought to all her favorite activities. Her generosity had opened a door to connection that protocol could never have created, and her natural warmth was bringing out the best in everyone around her. The moment was being captured by numerous cameras, though Emily remained blissfully unaware of the historical significance of her spontaneous act of kindness. She was simply enjoying a conversation with a nice man who appreciated her popcorn and seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts about the brave athletes they had all come to support. Prince Harry, meanwhile, was experiencing exactly the kind of authentic human connection that made public service meaningful. Emily's gift of popcorn had been offered with no expectation of anything in return, representing the purest form of generosity and hospitality that he rarely encountered in his formal duties. The magic of this moment lay not in its royal connections or media potential, but in the simple fact that two people from completely different worlds had found common ground through a child's natural impulse to share something she loved with someone she liked. Emily's popcorn had become a bridge between ordinary life and extraordinary circumstances, creating a memory that both participants would treasure long after the cameras stopped rolling. The interaction between Emily Henderson and Prince Harry had attracted the attention of everyone in the immediate vicinity, creating a growing circle of smiling spectators who recognized they were witnessing something genuinely special. Emily, completely absorbed in her conversation with her new friend, remained oblivious to the cameras discreetly capturing every moment of their exchange. Prince Harry's security team had positioned themselves to maintain safety while allowing the interaction to continue naturally. Their professional assessment confirmed what everyone could see. This was exactly the kind of positive, authentic encounter that exemplified the best aspects of royal public engagement. Emily's innocent generosity had created an atmosphere where genuine connection could flourish without the usual constraints of protocol. "Emily, I think you might be the most generous person I've met today," Prince Harry said, accepting yet another offering of popcorn from the increasingly depleted bag. His compliment was sincere, reflecting his genuine appreciation for her repeated acts of sharing throughout their conversation. Emily's face glowed with pride at this recognition from someone she had quickly grown to admire. "My mom always says sharing makes everything better," she replied with the wisdom that children sometimes display when repeating lessons that have genuinely resonated with them. And popcorn is definitely better when you share with friends. The crowd around them collectively melted at Emily's simple philosophy, with many adults exchanging meaningful glances as they were reminded of fundamental truths about human connection that they had perhaps forgotten in their daily lives. Emily's natural understanding of friendship and generosity was creating ripples of warmth that extended far beyond her immediate interaction with Prince Harry. Sarah Henderson felt tears forming in her eyes as she watched her daughter embody all the values she and Michael had tried to instill through years of patient parenting. Seeing Emily's kindness recognized and appreciated by someone as significant as Prince Harry validated their belief that raising children to be generous and confident would prepare them for any situation life might present. Michael, meanwhile, was frantically trying to process the fact that his 7-year-old daughter was having an extended, friendly conversation with a member of the British royal family over a bag of movie theater popcorn. He alternated between pride, amazement, and the peculiar parental worry that Emily might say something embarrassing, though her performance so far had been absolutely perfect. Other families in the crowd began pointing out the interaction to their own children, using Emily's example to illustrate lessons about confidence, kindness, and the importance of treating everyone with respect regardless of their position or status. Emily's behavior was providing a real-time demonstration of social skills that many parents struggled to teach through words alone. The Paralympic athletes who had been speaking with Prince Harry before Emily's arrival watched the ongoing conversation with genuine warmth. These individuals, who had overcome incredible challenges to reach elite levels of athletic performance, recognized in Emily's fearless approach to friendship the same kind of courage and determination that had carried them through their own difficult journeys. "She reminds me of my daughter," one of the athletes commented to his teammate, both of them smiling as Emily launched into an animated description of her favorite events from earlier in the day. "Same age, same complete confidence that the world is full of friends waiting to be made." Prince Harry, who had extensive experience reading crowds and managing public interactions, could sense the positive energy radiating from everyone watching Emily's performance. Her natural charm was creating exactly the kind of atmosphere that made public events memorable and meaningful for all participants, rather than just ceremonial obligations to be endured. "Emily, would you like to meet some of the athletes?" Prince Harry asked, recognizing an opportunity to extend her positive experience while sharing her infectious enthusiasm with the competitors who were the real stars of the games. Emily's eyes widened with excitement at this unexpected invitation. She had been fascinated by the athletes throughout the day, but the possibility of actually meeting and talking with them exceeded her wildest expectations for their family outing. "Yes, please," Emily responded with characteristic enthusiasm. Then, immediately looked back toward her parents to ensure they approved of this development. Sarah and Michael nodded encouragingly, both amazed at the opportunities their daughter's simple act of sharing had created. Prince Harry gestured for the Henderson family to join him as he moved toward the group of Paralympic athletes who had been waiting patiently during his conversation with Emily. The athletes welcomed this development, having been charmed by Emily's interaction and eager to meet the young girl whose generosity had captured everyone's attention. Emily approached the athletes with the same confident friendliness she had shown Prince Harry, immediately offering her remaining popcorn to anyone who wanted some. Her natural assumption that sharing food was the best way to start any friendship proved universally appealing, with several athletes accepting small handfuls while introducing themselves and describing their events. "I watched you race earlier," Emily told one of the wheelchair racers with sincere admiration. "You were really, really fast. Faster than cars, I think." The athlete laughed with genuine pleasure at Emily's hyperbolic compliment, clearly delighted by her enthusiastic appreciation for his sport. "Thank you, Emily. Training every day helps me go fast, just like practicing helps you get better at anything you want to do." Emily nodded seriously at this advice, filing it away as important information from someone she now considered an expert on being excellent at difficult things. Her respect for the athletes was obvious and sincere, creating the kind of meaningful intergenerational connection that often eluded more formal meet-and-greet situations. Prince Harry watched these interactions with visible satisfaction, recognizing that Emily's presence was bringing out the best in everyone around her. Her genuine curiosity about the athletes' experiences, combined with her natural ability to make people feel appreciated, was creating exactly the kind of positive energy that the Invictus Games were designed to celebrate. The media representatives who had been covering Prince Harry's visit began to understand that Emily's spontaneous gesture had evolved into something much more significant than a brief photo opportunity. Her continued interactions with both the prince and the athletes were providing compelling content that perfectly illustrated the game's mission of inspiration, courage, and human connection. Emily's popcorn bag, now nearly empty but still being generously shared with anyone who expressed interest, had become a symbol of how small acts of kindness could create large moments of joy. Her 7-year-old understanding of friendship had transformed a routine royal visit into an authentic celebration of human warmth and generosity. "Emily, you've made this one of the best days I've had at the Games," Prince Harry told her as their extended interaction began to wind down. His comment was clearly sincere, reflecting the genuine pleasure he had derived from her uncomplicated approach to friendship and her natural ability to focus on what truly mattered. Emily beamed at this recognition, though her 7-year-old mind was already processing the fact that their special time together was approaching its end. "Will you remember about the popcorn?" she asked with the seriousness that children bring to ensuring that important moments are properly preserved in memory. "I will absolutely remember the popcorn," Prince Harry assured her solemnly. "And I'll remember how kind and generous you are. Thank you for sharing with me and for reminding everyone here what friendship really means." Emily's parents approached as the formal part of Prince Harry's visit needed to resume, but not before Emily had one final offering of popcorn and one more important piece of information to share. "If you ever want more popcorn, you can come to our house," Emily announced with the casual generosity that had characterized her entire interaction. "My mom makes really good snacks, and we have movies too." The crowd around them erupted in appreciative laughter at Emily's invitation, with Prince Harry's genuine amusement and visible emotion at her offer creating a perfect ending to their remarkable encounter. Emily had managed to invite a member of the royal family to her home with the same natural warmth she might extend to any new friend from school. Sarah and Michael approached to collect their daughter, both overwhelmed by the positive response Emily's behavior had generated. The athletes, the security team, the media representatives, and the crowd of spectators all wore expressions of genuine warmth and appreciation for having witnessed such an authentic moment of human connection. Emily waved goodbye to Prince Harry and the athletes with her characteristic enthusiasm, clutching her now empty popcorn bag as a treasured memento of the most exciting day of her young life. She had no understanding of the media attention her gesture would generate, but she knew with 7-year-old certainty that she had made some wonderful new friends. The ripples of joy that Emily's simple act of sharing had created continued to spread throughout the venue as people shared the story with friends and family members who had missed the interaction. Her example of fearless kindness and natural generosity had reminded everyone present of the fundamental human values that the Invictus Games were ultimately designed to celebrate and honor. The Henderson family's drive home from the Invictus Games was filled with Emily's excited recounting of every detail from her extraordinary day, though she remained charmingly unaware of the full significance of her interaction with Prince Harry. To her 7-year-old mind, she had simply met some very nice people, shared her favorite snack, and made new friends who appreciated her generosity. "Mom, Prince Harry said he would remember the popcorn forever," Emily announced from the back seat, carefully holding her empty popcorn bag like a precious treasure. "And the fast wheelchair man said I was very smart, and everyone was so happy when I share my popcorn." Sarah turned in her seat to smile at her daughter, still processing the remarkable events they had witnessed. "You were wonderful, sweetheart. You showed everyone how to be kind and friendly, and that's something to be very proud of." Michael glanced in the rearview mirror at Emily's beaming face, feeling a mixture of pride and amazement that would take days to fully process. "Emily, do you understand that Prince Harry is a very important person?" he asked gently, curious about her perspective on the day's events. Emily considered this question seriously before responding. "He seemed important because everyone was excited to see him, but he was really nice and normal. Just like when important people come to my school, except he liked popcorn more than most grown-ups do." Her matter-of-fact assessment of royalty made both parents laugh, while simultaneously demonstrating that Emily's natural social instincts had guided her perfectly throughout the interaction. She had treated Prince Harry with respect and friendliness without being intimidated by his status, creating exactly the kind of authentic connection that had made their encounter so special. As the Henderson family reached their neighborhood, other families at the games were sharing their own versions of Emily's story with friends and relatives. Word of the charming interaction was spreading through social media and text messages as people who had witnessed the event felt compelled to share something that had genuinely touched their hearts. The video footage captured by multiple spectators began appearing online within hours of the event, though the Henderson family remained unaware of this development as they focused on their dinner routine and Emily's continued recounting of her adventure. The clips showed Emily's confident approach, her generous sharing of popcorn, and Prince Harry's delighted response to her spontaneous gesture. Social media reactions to the video were overwhelmingly positive, with commenters from around the world expressing appreciation for Emily's natural kindness and Prince Harry's gracious response to her gift. Many parents shared the clips with their own children as examples of confidence, generosity, and appropriate social behavior, while others simply enjoyed the heartwarming reminder of childhood innocence in action. Emily's bedtime routine that evening included multiple retellings of her favorite moment from the day, with particular emphasis on the athletes she had met and the various competitions she had watched. The interaction with Prince Harry had clearly been special, but in Emily's mind, it was part of a larger adventure that had exceeded all her expectations. "Will we see Prince Harry and the fast runners again?" Emily asked as Sarah tucked her into bed, her voice heavy with the exhaustion of an eventful day. "Probably not soon," Sarah replied honestly, "but we'll always remember this special day when you were so kind and brave. And who knows, maybe someday you'll meet other important people who will appreciate your generosity just as much." Emily fell asleep clutching her empty popcorn bag, her dreams filled with athletic competitions, friendly conversations, and the warm feeling that came from knowing she had made people happy by sharing something she loved. Meanwhile, the media coverage of Emily's gesture was expanding beyond social media into mainstream news outlets. The story perfectly embodied multiple themes that resonated with audiences: childhood innocence, royal accessibility, the spirit of the Invictus Games, and the power of simple kindness to create meaningful connections across social boundaries. Prince Harry's team recognized the positive impact of Emily's spontaneous interaction and, ensured that official coverage of the event included appropriate recognition of her gesture. The story became part of the broader narrative about the Invictus Games' success in creating authentic moments of human connection and inspiration. Educational institutions began using Emily's example in discussions about social skills, confidence, and appropriate behavior with authority figures. Her fearless approach to friendship demonstrated principles that many character education programs struggled to teach through formal curricula, making her interaction a valuable real-world case study. The Paralympic athletes who had met Emily shared their own perspectives on her impact, describing how her genuine appreciation for their accomplishments and her natural warmth had energized them for their remaining competitions. Her ability to see them as impressive individuals rather than focusing on their disabilities exemplified the kind of awareness and respect that the Games aimed to promote. Emily's elementary school learned about her adventure through local news coverage, leading to classroom discussions about the Invictus Games, military veterans, and the importance of treating everyone with kindness and respect. Emily became an inadvertent ambassador for these values, though she remained more interested in describing the athletic competitions than analyzing the social significance of her behavior. The Henderson family began receiving messages from friends and distant relatives who had seen news coverage of Emily's interaction. The overwhelming response was positive, with many people expressing appreciation for Emily's natural kindness and her parents' obvious success in raising a confident, generous child. Local community organizations reached out to invite Emily to share her experience at various events, recognizing that her story provided an excellent example of positive youth behavior and community values. While the family was selective about accepting these invitations, they appreciated the recognition of Emily's character and the positive message her actions had conveyed. Emily's teachers used her experience as a springboard for discussions about courage, kindness, and the importance of being yourself in any situation. Her classmates were impressed by her interaction with Prince Harry, but equally interested in her descriptions of the athletic competitions and her detailed reviews of the various snack foods she had consumed throughout the day. The popcorn bag that Emily had saved as a memento became a treasured family keepsake, representing not just her interaction with Prince Harry, but the entire experience of witnessing extraordinary human achievement and resilience at the Invictus Games. The empty bag served as a tangible reminder of how small gestures could create large impacts. As weeks passed, Emily's perspective on her experience evolved from immediate excitement to a more mature understanding of what had made the day special. She began to recognize that her willingness to share her favorite snack had opened doors to conversations and friendships that might not have happened otherwise, though she still considered the athletic competitions to be equally impressive. The long-term impact of Emily's gesture extended beyond the immediate positive publicity it generated for the Invictus Games and the royal family. Her example became part of ongoing conversations about raising confident, kind children who could navigate complex social situations with grace and authenticity. Other families attending similar events began encouraging their children to follow Emily's example of approaching new situations with openness and generosity. Her story became a template for positive social interaction that parents could reference when preparing their children for public events or meetings with unfamiliar adults. The legacy of Emily's popcorn sharing moment ultimately demonstrated that the most powerful forms of diplomacy and public relations often arise from genuine human connection rather than carefully orchestrated photo opportunities. Her 7-year-old instincts had created exactly the kind of authentic interaction that professional event planners spend enormous resources trying to engineer. Emily Henderson's spontaneous act of kindness had reminded everyone who witnessed it that the simplest gestures often carry the greatest meaning, and that childhood wisdom about sharing and friendship could bridge any gap between people, regardless of their backgrounds or positions. Her legacy lived on in the countless individuals who were inspired to approach their own daily interactions with greater warmth, generosity, and fearless kindness. The empty popcorn bag sitting on Emily's bedroom shelf served as a daily reminder that being yourself, sharing what you have, and treating everyone as a potential friend could transform ordinary moments into extraordinary memories that would be treasured for a lifetime.